Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Oh, I should stop singing. The stats for the Electric Scooter podcast were down a little bit this time. Maybe because I put too much music in the last one. Actually, they're up for most of the English-speaking world, but for a lot of the countries in Europe, it seems like we lost some listeners. Maybe it's the time of year. The holidays are upon us, but I don't want to do a special festive holidays version of the Electric Scooter podcast, although this episode may border on that a little bit because we're going to talk about a video that the Electric Scooter Guide put out that was about the best scooters for first-time buyers. And that could be perceived as a Christmassy holiday gift-giving sort of theme, but not really. The holidays, though, do make me think back on my childhood. If you're just joining us, I'm Dagwood Streets, host of the Electric Scooter podcast. I had a younger brother named Durwood, so Durwood and Dagwood. Sometimes people call me Dags because when you scream Durwood, Dagwood, it sounds kind of similar. Sometimes call me Dags, but I go by Dagwood. I started small, okay? And then as I ingested food, protein, and fiber and vegetables, I, like most people, grew larger, got married, had kids. I would play my music in the car sometimes. I'd sneak it in, back when we had CDs, or even before that, cassette players. Who remembers those? I'd put in one of my original songs, but the kids, they could tell right away. They could smell that Dagwood Street song from a mile away, and they would all at the same time harmoniously go, Daddy. And I don't know that that's why the stats went down a little bit. Is it because of my music? I do like to travel. I think everybody knows that. If you listen to this podcast, you know that a lot of my scootering is done on the road. I rarely stay in hotels, but as we were passing through Oklahoma, we were circling the United States in my DIY van. And as we were passing through Oklahoma, we decided to stay in a hotel. We did stay in one campground in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then Oklahoma. We were going to stay in a hotel, but it was weird. There was no electricity. People were screaming at each other. It was just bad vibes. But they had some kind of chess convention in town. It was Reno. El Reno. That was it. El Reno, Oklahoma. Not Reno, which is in Nevada, north of where I am, and the fabulous Las Vegas. No, this is El Reno. They are the Reno or the Reno. And there was a chess convention, and all these fanatics that love chess were sitting in the lobby of the hotel just trying to outdo each other, regale each other with stories of how great they were at chess. I guess it was basically chestnuts boasting in an open foyer. Every year around this time, you get a bunch of lists of the best electric scooters. I do kind of trust CNET. Before I buy a camera or a computer or something, I will often look up CNET and see what their opinions are. But when it comes to electric scooters, not so much. I'm just going to, in passing, list the best electric scooters for 2022 because it was recently released just a couple weeks ago from CNET. Again, I don't put a lot of credit on these folks for electric scooters. They're good at other things, but I know what they're doing. They don't have a bunch of scooter riders giving their opinions. They're gathering statistics and they're sorting it on a computer and price and range and all that kind of stuff. And there are a lot of things on a scooter that are esoteric If you look at Inokim or Unagi, some of the numbers don't add up till you get on the scooter and then you go, oh, okay, I get it. I get it now. Best scooter for most people, eMove Cruiser. Best electric scooter for cheap Charlies, or some might say modest budgets, the Swagtron Swagger 5 Boost. Best all-around pick value for money, the E2W GT SE. I've heard it pronounced E2W. I've heard so many things. Come on, scooter manufacturers, pick a name people can pronounce. Last mile scooter that can handle more weight than the others, the InMotion S1 electric scooter, the Just Right scooter, Apollo City and Apollo City Pro. Now, there you go. That shows me they don't know what they're talking about. Solid build and good range, GoTrex, G-Max. Some of these are just so far out there, I'm not even going to list. High-end features and extras at a competitive price. Okay, Varla, Eagle One, $1,700. That very well, maybe. Nimble and quick, Apollo Ghost. Nope. Again, my buddy had one, put 500 miles on it. The stem broke, and Apollo said, tough luck, buddy. Maybe because he was in Hawaii. They weren't willing to ship. I don't know what the backstory is. I could just ask him, but bad vibes, people. Bad vibes. Cool and cost-effective. The Levy, Levy. Yeah, okay. They even got a water scooter here. I've never heard of that before. It's called the Genino S2. Again, what a great name. Come on, people. Geneinno. Genino, I guess. They think that's something that people universally are going to pronounce. I don't know. Maybe some obscure part of Italy. Best for avoiding obstacles. Future Motion one-wheel point. Well, that's not a scooter. That's a one-wheel. Brains and Beauty, Unagi E500. Okay. Beast for the Buck, Mercane Wide Wheel Pro. Okay. Mercane, Korean made, props. Good. Happy to see that. Not everything has to be made in China. But here's how I know they're not up to date on what they're reviewing here. Best electric scooter for the Cosmopolitan Adult, Boosted Rev. Those guys have been out of business for like a couple years now. Are you kidding me? All right, let's get real. That was an example of a list that, maybe they get lucky and hit a couple things on the head. But, you throw darts at a dartboard, you're going to hit a few, you're going to miss a few. Now, the Electric Scooter Guide, I do put faith and stock in that particular group of people because they really know what they're talking about. Before we talk about the Electric Scooter Guide's top 7 best electric scooters for new riders, why? People buying presents right now? Actually, I want this still to be interesting after the holidays. People buy scooters for people, their kids, their nephews, their nieces, whatever. I don't know who you're buying scooters for, scooterheads. I really don't know. But let me say a couple things. Number one, if you're going to buy a scooter, go to the electric-scooter.guide. And a lot of times they have coupons. You can save as much as $500 off of certain scooters. That's right. I'm not kidding. Sometimes, it's usually more like 100, 200 or whatever, but up to $500 on a scooter. You just type in some little code that they give you or something like that. It's definitely worth doing. Go to the Electric Scooter Guide, electric-scooter.guide. I am not affiliated with them in any way, but I do try to participate in their forum. They have an Electric Scooter Guide forum. Every vehicle I've ever owned, and even gadgets, I type in the name of the gadget and then forum, and boy, do you learn some interesting stuff on those forums. If you have a question before you take it back to your dealer or before you throw your hands up in frustration, go to the electric-scooter.guide. Go to their forum and see if they got some information for you. All right. What to look for as a new rider. Should be simple to ride. Shouldn't be too expensive. Probably lightweight. a reputable brand. I would add buy from an established dealer. I like Voro Motors. I like Fluid Free Ride. I know Rev Rides is good. There's a bunch of them out there. It's not only those three. There are others that are reputable. Apollo, I think overall they're good. You hear things. All right, so affordable. NIU. N-I-U. Yes, it's pronounced NIU. Like an East Coast of the United States person would say news. And now the news. That's how you pronounce NIU. N-I-U. NIU. The KQi2 Pro. Another horrible name. $599. I got to see them at CES last year. I'm going to be seeing it here a couple weeks at the next CES coming up in January. And they seem to have pretty solid stuff. That they were editor's choice for new riders, 2022, 2023. All around affordable and rising brand. I'm sure they are because I know they're a huge company. So like Okai, you probably see some Okai on this list too. NIU, just because they're new to you. They've been around, got some experience, done some stuff. It only goes up to 16 miles an hour, 15 miles of range. But, who you buying it for? It's got an IP4. I say it has an IP5 for water resistance. Doesn't matter. Don't take your scooter in water ever. I don't care what the IP rating is. Just don't do it. Next, affordable beginner electric scooters. Oh, I guess all of these are affordable electric scooters. Unagi Model 1, also known as the E500. A little more jack, a little more moolah, $990. Again, I gotta agree with this. They're cool. Top speed, 20 miles an hour. Tested range is only 8.5 miles. But they weigh less than 30 pounds, and they'll allow a 280-pound rider. Wow. But they have this weird option, too, where you can rent one starting at $55 a month. If you're a college student away from home, might be a good way to go. And they will also, with your purchase or your subscription, sell you insurance. It covers you against theft and damage. They also have flat-proof tires, making it the most worry-free scooter ride possible. That's certainly true. Next, the Anyhill UM1, $600. Now, this one goes 15 miles an hour and has a tested range of just under 12 miles. Also, only weighs 31 pounds. Not bad. $600, $300 cheaper than the Unagi. And it looks to be quite a competitor. I like it. I wonder what colors it comes in. Now let's talk about premium beginner electric scooters. This is the one I would maybe look at. They have TAUR in here, T-A-U-R. Personally wouldn't buy one and wouldn't recommend one just because of your stance. Has to be with your feet side by side. That to me that's a deal breaker. So they're $1,500. They look very sturdy. Love the wheels on them. Top speed 21 miles an hour. Tested range 12 miles. They only weigh 38 pounds. Hey, for a new scooter rider, that's gonna put them into a bad habit, man. You're starting off with your feet side by side. Bad juju. Let me tell you, when you stop fast, your body is going to be thrown forward, and that might even make your hand be a little heavier on the throttle. I don't know what it's going to affect. It depends on the situation, right? I don't know how it's going to affect anybody. But they're pretty cool. They're different. They have a lot of multimedia stuff going on with their founder, Carson Brown. I've listened to some of his talks. I do love their tires. Carson Brown said they basically stopped getting flats once they switched to premium Continental Kevlar belted tires, which are pneumatic. That means air filled. So Wow, that's pretty good. If they would put out a scooter with a conventional deck on it, I would look at it seriously. If you weigh more than 220 pounds, look past this tower. For a first-time rider, no, I would not buy this for somebody else. Would not. Nope. Pass. Hard pass. Apollo Air 2022. Apollo, yeah, I think this is a good scooter. I have an Apollo that I'd love. I know it seems like I talk down on Apollo products, but I have the Apollo Explorer, not Explorer, like hirer, but the Explorer, Apollo Explorer. And it's a really basic scooter. It's kind of my little run around. It's got tubes in the tires, but they're air filled, and I haven't had a flat or anything on it. And it just balances good, rides good. I've never had any issues with the Apollo Explorer. So I love that. And Apollo Air looks to be a very good scooter as well. If you got an extra $1,000 flying out of your pocket and you got a little niece or nephew wants to get around town, I guess I could go for this. The tires are 10 inches, which is great. And it says they're Aramid reinforced inner tube tires. I don't know what that means. Aramid. Sounds like an underarm deodorant. They spray some underarm deodorant on it and say, all right, good to go. It's Aramid reinforced. So with 10-inch tires, it's going to be good in potholes and it's going to help the ride over bumps a lot. It also goes up to 20 miles an hour if you put it in sport mode. But the throttle is not heavy, so good for beginners. I tell you, I'd get this before I'd get the tower, for sure. Mercane Jubel, Jubel, Mercane Jubel, $1,300. This looks to be a pretty robust scooter for $1,300. Never ridden it, never even laid eyes on it, but I know they're a Korean company, which I think is a good thing. It goes 25 miles an hour, a range of 24 miles. And these ranges are tested ranges, okay? This is people at the Electric Scooter Guide hopping on the scooters, riding them. This is what they got. This is not what the factory said. The factory did say if you're over 220 pounds, maybe look at another scooter. But again, $1,300. The Mercane Jubel. Do they say Jubel or Jubel? Jubel, I would say. And Scooter Guide calls it the Pothole King. These are the same guys that made the Mercane Wide Wheel Pro. It's kind of like the Harley Davidson of scooters. Looks cool. I don't know that I want one, but these guys have made scooters in the past, and they're pretty strong. This one has 12-inch air-filled tires, 19-inch deck, hybrid grip tape, rubber cover that gives the rider stability, plenty of room to get a good stance, and a smooth ride. Wow. Okay, I like this one. On paper, I like it. Haven't ridden it. You know, things could really change when I jump on that thing. Maybe I'll get a chance at CES. Who knows? But I like this. Has drum brakes. I like that. Drum brakes, believe it or not, old technology. But let me tell you, not a lot of maintenance on them drum brakes. They're going to last a long time. And you don't have to worry so much about water, dust, and things getting on your brake pads. Nice. I like that one. eMove touring is I was going to say touring. I've been watching so much YouTube lately. They say tourists instead of tourists. Do you go on a tour or do you go on a tour? Motorcycles, are they touring motorcycles or touring? They're for touring. This is the eMove touring, not the eMove touring. I don't even know what that means to tour. It's TOUR, tour, touring, eMove touring. Can you tell I'm an English major? Huh? Do you get the subtleties when I talk that I'm possibly an English major? $900 for the eMove touring, and you can't go wrong. 18, 19 miles of range, 21, 22 miles per hour, weighs only 40 pounds. This is just solid. Voro Motors sells it. I'm not going to talk too long about this one, but there are some things that I'm not super happy about. It's got little teeny tires and things like that, but you can add a seat to it. Doesn't mean anything to me again, but I think it's going to be a solid, for under $1,000. I'd call that lower mid-range scooter. But what I know of eMove, you're not going to have any problems. Then they have honorable mentions, the U-Scooters GT Sport for $1,000. Then they have the eMove Cruiser. I would have put this one up there instead of Touring for sure, because eMove Cruiser goes forever. It's solid. They're known to be reliable. This is, the Toyota RAV4. Would you call it? I don't know. What's a Toyota that goes long distance? This is just a good, solid scooter. eMove Roadrunner. Nope. That's a bicycle, not a scooter. Why is it in there, folks? I don't know. Okay. Neon Pro. Okay. OKAI. This is a company I've had my eye on. Also saw them last at CES. It's another one of those companies, even though you haven't heard their name, they're huge. They're a massive company over in China. They've got a solid workforce and stability and buildings and all this stuff in place. And that, to me, bodes well. The Electric Scooter Guide says normally they would put, for sure, the Segway 9-Bot Max because it's just solid and low maintenance, runs forever. But they say they found something faster that goes further and is cheaper, and that's the Okai Neon Pro. And they compare it to the Segway 9-Bot Max, which goes 18 miles per hour. Okai goes 20. The max range is 21.6 miles. The Neon Pro goes 26.8. The price, Segway 9-Bot Max, $900. Okay, $850. Well, there you go. I mean, I'd still have to ride it and everything, but they have this cool Bluetooth setup that links you to your smart helmet and a lot of neat stuff. I've always recommended the Segway 9-Bot Max, but if I could just jump on this Okai Neon Pro one time just so I can really recommend it myself because I've ridden it, make sure there's not anything janky, gawky, or funky about it. Man, it looks like a solid scooter. Also, as an honorable mention, is the Neo KQi3 Max for $950. Again, I kind of lump Neo in with Okai. They're companies you haven't heard of, and they both make scooters that are really solidly built. So I think you're going to get a good price because of the lack of name recognition, even though they are solid scooters that I don't think you're going to have a lot of maintenance issues with. Then there's a bunch more honorable mentions. I'm not going to go that far. I already went more than 7. I said I was going to go 7. The Electric Scooter Podcast, where studies reveal that 97% of listeners have zero chance of being struck by a meteor in their entire life. Well, Scooterheads, I put less music on this episode than I do on other ones, and let's see if there's a correlation. Let's see if all of a sudden the statistics, the listenership skews skyward. Then I'll know you don't like my music. Nobody likes my music. I'll get over it. I promise. Until next time, Scooterheads, keep the shiny side up, dirty side down. And by shiny side up, I hope you know what that means. That means wear a helmet and don't fall down. Aloha.